Hi, my name is Brandon, and Vignesh and I are doing Metabolism, Photosynthesis, and Cellular Respiration Station 4. I'm personally doing Laws of Thermodynamics, Fermentation and Anaerobic Respiration, and Catabolic and Anabolic Pathways.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm Vignesh. I'll be discussing chemiosmosis, Calvin cycle, and light to chemical energy.
Understand that thermodynamics means the diffusion of energy, not disorder. So to begin with, the first law of thermodynamics states that the energy of the universe is constant and energy is not destroyed. Such as like when we run, energy is always released in heat. It doesn't just disappear. And the second law of thermodynamics states that every energy transfer or transformation increases the disorder of the universe, which explains why certain reactions don't need energy because there's an increase in entropy or disorder. And it is processed through either endergonic or exergonic reaction. And in the graph you can see that there's free energy, which is the part of a system's energy that is able to perform work when the temperature is uniform. So from the graph you can see that you don't necessarily need free energy to start a process, as well as energy is either absorbed or released in the end. Going on, I'm going to talk about fermentation and anaerobic respiration. So there are two types of fermentation, alcohol fermentation and lactic fermentation. Both create more NAD+. However, ethanol is released by alcohol fermentation and lactate is released by lactic acid fermentation. As well as anaerobic respiration generates ATP by using an electron transport chains. And then going on to catabolic pathways and anabolic pathways. Catabolic pathways break down larger molecules into smaller units and the energy is released, while anabolic pathways occurs when smaller molecules with energy assembles to create larger molecules. So going on to the three stages of cellular respiration, glycolysis is a catabolic pathway which occurs in a cytosol where it breaks down glucose in order to form pyruvates, 2 NADH, and 2 molecules of ATP. During this process, it uses 2 ATP to convert the glucose into pyruvates. However, it forms 4 ATP later to give back 2 ATP. The next step is the Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. This is an amphibolic pathway, which means it's both catabolic and anabolic. So acetose CoA from the pyruvate oxidation enters the Krebs cycle to begin the process. In the end, 6 carbons from glucose has been released as CO2. 2 ATPs produced in NADH and FADH2, which are electron carriers, are also produced. The last step is oxidative phosphorylation, which occurs in a mitochondria, where ATP is formed by the transfer of electrons from NADH and FADH2 to oxygen.
Thanks, Brandon. So right after the phosphorylation occurs, chemiosmosis starts to happen after the electron transport chain. After these NADH go through and out, causing a proton gradient to occur, causing chemiosmosis to occur, whereas the H pluses will start to come inside of the cell come through the cell membrane. Now on to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is split into two different reactions. One is the light independent reaction, which is a Calvin cycle, and one is light dependent reaction. And light dependent occurs first as light and water is absorbed, and the chloroplasts take in the sunlight and they release O2 through the air. And then in that reaction in the thylakoids, they produce ADP and NADPH. And then this transitions into the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle then uses these energy sources and takes in carbon dioxide, where it uses all three sources, including the CO2, to create a glucose. Thank you so much for watching our video. This is all in part by Hofferek Labs, and a big shout out and one of our supporters, Syed Medella and Ashwin, and to Ms. Hofferek, who said I could not do this whole project in 6 hours.